Silas, can you hear us?
What's good? What's good? What's good? Yes, I can.
Welcome. So, Silas, this is TP. TP, this is Silas, I'm sure.
I'm nice, G.
So, guys, for a bit of context, Nota posted a tweet that I happened to screenshot, and then I reposted on my WhatsApp. And then TP was like, nah, bro, that's not a story. So after sending me a 5-minute long voice note, he was like, yo, man, let's jump on the live and actually chop it up. Okay, so I have the tweet here. I'm going to put it up on the screen. The tweet says, okay, so he's talking about August Delcina. So he says, August better hope he has a label like RCA pick him up and actually put something proper out. He needs writers, producers, and to get a professional engineer. The mix on this album is terrible, right? Like South African standard terrible. Other than that, he's gonna need to talk to Oprah. So on our side, we're just gonna break down the mixing side of things and why TP you feel like the problems rather with the mixing game in SA. Talk to us.
Yeah, man. I just have a different feeling about it. I call it a little bit of feelings because of the South African standard of mixing, because I really don't believe that our mixing is really that bad.
Yeah.
But I just feel like we have conformed so much to international mixes that even our music here, the authentic music that is being created here, doesn't have a sound in terms of engineering, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean? So if you have to compare, for example, the Cubs of the Small album that's out right now, and you have to compare the standard of mixing, has Amapiano have they created enough material for us to compare it to? What are we comparing it to when we say it's not quality? What if that's the quality that the music is supposed to be? You know, because you're gonna go and take a dance song from the UK and compare it to the environment is different. People are listening. I'm not saying quality is not quality. Quality is quality, but I'm saying with that quality comes a little bit of that flavor. You know what I mean? And us as engineers, we have problems sometimes because every time when you get a mix, you'll be like, yo, reference. And I'm going to get a song from a guy who's coming from Limpopo, for example, and who's coming up with something new. And I want to mix it like Lil Uzi Vert. I want to mix it like Atlanta. So we kind of like fall. I feel like personally, we kind of like fall behind because now we as engineers don't have our authentic sound. I don't know how you guys think about it, but I just feel like we in South Africa, I mean, I can talk about Raf's ATM. I'm confident enough to say Raf ATM. If you listen to anything that was mixed by Raf, you know it's Raf.
You know it was mixed by Raf.
Yeah, and you can hear the authenticity. He's not trying to be something else. Yes, we learn from other places, but you gotta make it your own so that we have our own standard. And then, I mean, it's been years we've been mixing, but now if I say I'm mixing hip hop, right now, which song would you pull into your session to be a reference, which is from South Africa, which is going to give you that authentic South African sound?
There is no song. There is no benchmark or reference, and that's the point. I think we need to start on. So, Silas, how are you feeling? You look like you're thinking a lot, boy.
No. I'm actually I'm on the other side of the fence. I've been saying this for a long time. I've been saying that our mixing game is not where it needs to be. I've been listening to, if we go back as far as maybe say 10 years ago, you'll hear how much we've progressed. Let's not lie. Our industry is small, né? And we've been progressing. If you think back to days of just pre-WHP, that time, if you listen to how the mixes are versus how it was during their era, Kulichana, them, and, you know, their rise, and then how it improved even more so, the rise of AKA and your Caspers and those people, and how it's now shifted to where it is now. There's been there's been massive growth, but there's always something that we are lacking. And this isn't the first time this has been brought up, actually, through this tweet that you're talking about. Yeah. There was a video, I'm trying to remember, I think it was a Castle Light something, but they were doing a panel. And Casper was sitting in the panel, and someone asked something about engineering in general in the country. Yeah. They said, what are we lacking compared to the rest of the world? And his answer was, he had a very quick answer. He said something about equipment. He said equipment was the problem, right? And he said, the ear is there. We've got the ear. The problem is we don't have the cash. For me, it's a combination of everything. I believe it is the ear. I believe that a lot of the guys that are graduating from sound engineering schools, they don't feel equipped. They're not ready. A lot of them might not feel ready. They're not being exposed to the right type of work for us to be, improving. Yeah, the equipment does play a huge role, because these guys you're talking about, your roughs and them, they have a little bit more of a luxury in that regard, because they have a little bit more cash to spend on the correct mics, the correct whatever it is. They also have a little bit more knowledge than a guy from maybe Kasi or wherever it is. They know how to treat the room, even if it is this treatment of a normal room like this. Some of them are even privy to using analog gear, which we all know makes a difference at the end of the day. You see already there. Now you see all those little things. It's not one small problem. But all those little problems, when you compound them, then we're left with what we have right now, which is a situation where we kind of know what we need to do, but there's little things that we need to get right before we get there. But I'm also of the opinion that we don't. When I'm referencing, I don't reference SA tracks. Unfortunately,
definitely,
I'm pulling in a Dre mix. I'm pulling in something else from elsewhere, and I'm going to work from there as a base. And then in terms of if it is, say, an Amapiano track, and I need to mix an Amapiano track, I will go find the best track I can, and then I will merge it with another track from another genre overseas and try and get the sound there. So that's my viewpoint.
I think listening to the both of you, I'm getting like an idea that we're lacking on not just only the actual final product, which is the mix, right? Education is one also, because remember in the previous episode we spoke about how the challenge between studying sound and actually being on YouTube, and I was like, studying gives you the discernment to be like, yo, this is a bad tutorial, like this guy does not know what he's talking about. But whereas if someone did not study, they'll just bump it and be like, oh, compression ratio must be 10:1 always, you know what I mean? And then they don't know because they saw it on YouTube and they think, if it's on YouTube, it's correct, you see? So the information end of the spectrum is lacking, because not enough of the right information is flowing down, you know what I mean, to everyone, just as a starter. Before we even open sessions, people are not using stuff correctly based on not knowing how and what it does, you know? And then the gear also, like you're saying, the gear is very important, because, mate, if you're mixing on little computer speakers, dog, you can put 400 compressors on that thing. It's just not going to come out, you know what I mean? It's just really not going to come out. So the information, the gear, and also like TP was saying, we don't have a point of reference, you know, because we're trying to come up or build our sound using inspirational reference from that side. Like you're saying, all reference tracks are not local reference tracks. And that's not to say people are bad engineers, but just the published standard of quality is that American, you know, punch, boomy, and we don't make the same kind of music, and we're not consuming it on the same platforms, like TP also pointed out, because you're saying most of our people are listening on small Samsung earphones, bro. Not everyone has like 10K monitors, and if your subs are hitting the 30 hertz, bro, no one's gonna hear that. You know what I mean?
Hear it, yeah.
No one's gonna hear that. So for you in the studio, it's like, yes, you know. Yeah, so and then you're mixing for other engineers. That's another thing. You're not mixing for people. So now you're like, nah. I heard a rough pen, his head to the side and the delay was on the left, and then everything was on stereo. You know what I mean? So instead of just leaving your head there and putting your fade away, people can hear it, you now want to pan it to the left and then send the delay to the right and then stereo, everything. You know what I mean? So I think understanding who's consuming our content, how to make the content sound good for those platforms, and knowing how to make it sound good for those platforms is the key. Because like you guys saying, we can't mix SA music based on other stuff. So I can't mix piano like Afropop. It's not gonna sound the same. So I think that's where we're lacking. So people can't just be like South African mixing is bad. What about it is bad? You know what I mean? What about it is bad? Because the Nota's not the only one. I saw Rich Mahog also tweeted, he's like, a song like Sponono can't be injured by the mix. And I'm like, dog, what's wrong with that mix? Like genuinely, what's wrong with the mix? The vocals are clean, the bass is clean, it's piano, the keys are low, the drums are low, bass is loud. Textbook piano mix.
Yeah, and one thing that I realize a lot of people is they're not thinking about where the music is about, where it's supposed to be consumed. If you go play the same song in a stadium, in a big PA where there's people full, you're going to feel the impact. It was festival music, you check what I mean? And then again, if you're going to say it's a bad mix, what are you comparing it to? Which is better mix? What are you? Where are you basing that? This is
opinion
you're gonna tell me, if you listen to international mixes, this is how international mixes sound like. But Amapiano sound is a South African sound. They don't make Amapiano in the UK. If you listen to UK drill and you listen to drill from Brooklyn now, you can actually tell the difference. Even if the beat is the same, you can actually tell this is a different feel from an engineering perspective. And I feel like as engineers, we take it lightly that people who are consumers, they might not tell what it is, but they can feel something. That's why Amapiano is so big. That's why Master KG can do what Master KG is doing, because everybody will be taking it. You check what I mean? But his songs are touching people where they want because they can relate. When you walk in the streets where Master KG is from and play that music, you understand, okay, cool. This is it makes sense. It's not going to sound like some house music that came from the UK in the underground cloud. Mixed from here. So I feel like as engineers too, we need to have confidence sometimes to be like, yo, this is what it's supposed to. The people are jamming it, the people are playing it. You're not hearing anybody who's not an engineer or musician talking about bad mixes. As engineers, we just need picking it because we know we can say something. Now the key can be like that. But what are you basing the key on? This coming up with something too. This is something new for us as engineers too. You check what I mean? So I just feel like sometimes people just want to say those things. And us as engineers, we need to be confident in like, okay, cool. I'm getting this session. This is Amapiano. It's an opportunity for me maybe to come up with something that sounds good without me having to try to copy a UK sound. It's an opportunity because I can be the guy who's going to be the Mike Dean of Amapiano, for example. You know what I'm saying? If I'm putting it like that. But we going and looking at it like, okay, cool. I need to make sure that is an international standard. The international standard we set it however we want because it's our music. You check what I mean? That's how I feel about this. Check what I mean?
There was another thing I saw. I think it was it Paul? I think it was Mapores who tweeted it. He's like, we don't master piano, and that made a lot of sense. Like when I read that tweet, it made a lot of sense because you can go from one song and it's bumping, then the next song is a bit low, and then. But it's still piano. Like for when people consume it, it sounds the same and it sounds as good. Because he broke down the whole mix. He was like, the drums are mixed low, the keys are mixed low so that the bass can knock. Nah? And then we don't master it. And for someone who's been mixing, like, let's say Afropop all their life, they'll be like, why would you do that?
What the hell?
You understand? Yeah. Why would you do that? So I think also just the tastes of the different engineers, because you might find someone like Pensado, Dave Pensado, you can be like, this mix is pathetic. But because of the 40 years that he's had in the game, his opinion is now valid, but it's not supposed to relate to him. He does not understand. You know what I mean? He does not understand the basis of those decisions that were made. But him listening with, I have 40 years mixing Rihanna, Pharrell, all of them.
Yes.
It's supposed to sound like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when he now hears it, it's like, what is going on here? You know?
So when can we make the comparisons? When can we make those comparisons? If we're looking at a genre like that, where it's exclusively ours, right? That and all our various kinds of SA house, those are exclusively ours, so we can own them. It's easy. When we're speaking about genres that we share with other countries, that's what I'm speaking about in particular. Genres that we share with other countries, like hip-hop, like pop. Those genres there, it becomes difficult for us to compete with our kind of mix. With house, I understand. I'm a piano. I had to learn as well. There was a guy, he came through, he's like, how are my kicks sounding? I'm like, dude, your kicks are non-existent. He's like, great. He wanted to be like.
Exactly.
So I was like, okay, now I've learned because of where my mixing mind is. My mixing mind is hip-hop. It's hard. So it didn't make sense to me. Then another thing is, there's also where you want to appeal. You were speaking just now about, was it Master KG? And you're speaking about that. And it made me, I don't know why I went back to thinking about this track that Drake took from Black Coffee.
Superman.
Yeah? And how, and you listen to the original and you listen to this one and you hear what they've accentuated. The first thing that they did, percussion,
God.
all of it. That was the first thing that I picked up. So already the taste is different. So for that song to have gotten, for Drake's version to have gotten the appeal that it got in its market worldwide, it needed to sound a particular way. So it needed to go that way. And I'm on the side where I feel like we were okay with our version. Leave us with our Superman.
Yeah, we were grand.
It made sense to us in our environments. But the moment you remove the percussion, it's no longer our house anymore. Also, the way the vocal comes in, you could hear how thick their vocals were. Drake and what was the lady's name?
I forget her name, but yeah.
I've forgotten, but yeah. You hear the way their vocals, it's chill, dude. No one, the way their vocals sit on it, as opposed to how we had ours with Superman. I'm owning it now, it's ours. It's very, very different. But for that song to have gotten that appeal in that way to that particular market, we had to conform that way. Now, as our industry grows and our listenership grows, and the way we can pull in the entire continent and other parts of the world, you're seeing Swiss Beats and those people now vibing to our music. We can now look at Black Panther. We can now call the shots, like you were saying, TP. We can now call the shots, and slowly but surely, if we just become stubborn for long enough and we continue to grow,
it's gonna be like,
surely at some point we're gonna start mixing like each other. Because now you're speaking about Pensado, you're speaking about Mike Deans. We need ours here. We need our people like that.
Exactly. You know, if we have to...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry, man. If we have to actually be real with things and be like, in the modern culture, our culture, I understand that all of us, the three of us here, we're probably in the same culture where we're listening to a lot of hip-hop, Amapiano, probably all of these new genres that are coming out. We don't have what I can say our heroes, who are the guys who are mixing it. And I'm getting to a point where I'm feeling like that's us. We have to be those guys where we'll be like, okay, cool. Okay, this is not how it feels when I go to Tembisa and they're spinning cars and they're playing. This is not how it feels. You take what I mean? When I request and I'm riding through Soweto, it doesn't feel like this because we understand how to make that feel. So I feel like it's not a fight to say that people haven't been doing the right thing, but they've been mixing great. They've been doing the stimulus and been sounding good. But if you take that and you apply it for now, everything has changed. You know, but we're still taking the same basis and being like, okay, cool. And another thing is, like you were saying with YouTube, somebody's going to YouTube to find the template, not to understand how it works.
Not to understand,
find the template and do the exactly same thing, but they're not understanding the environment is changing, the feel is changing. You go home, you play the same music to your homies, and they don't feel really attached to it because you're not understanding that engineering can shade that decision. You check what I mean? Yeah.
An important thing that you brought up, Silas, was the markets. The market's very important. I mean, as Africans, I think what wins in our country/continent is the rhythm, bro. We want to move. You understand? We want to move. That's just something that's very important. I mean, people like Tira, who've been in the game for 22 years now, 21 years. He was on a channel interview and they were like, yo, dude, what's the sauce? He's like, but people want to dance. If I had to give you sauce, people want to dance. You understand? So for us, it's a validation problem because we understand what people want here. But because engineering culture and production culture has been properly developed overseas, we want to get the recognition from overseas. You know what I mean? So you want to be like, I'm charting that side. I am being signed that side. It's such a big thing to be signed that side. If a label of ambitious size signs you in America, you are hot in SA. You understand? You become, wow, we signed in America. And it's just an ambitious, bro. It's not universal or, you know what I mean? So I think understanding and valuing the consumption of SA people and strictly deciding to mix for Africa. You understand? And then if we stick stubborn, like you're saying, Silas, we can actually create a benchmark and a template where people will start referencing local stuff, you know, like African mixes. So understanding that and knowing where it's going to be consumed again is the key. Because like you're saying with America and them, one thing I know for sure is that Drake and them, they mix the beat to the vocal. They don't mix the vocal to the beat. So they make the vocal hot. Then they put in the elements to suit the sound they've created for the vocal. You know what I mean? So whereas with us, we want to kick must be hot. Then the vocal is going to squeeze in there somewhere.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
Find the space.
Yeah, the vocal will find a space there somewhere. So I think that's also another thing that we need to be very, very.
But is it? I'm thinking about it practically now. How do we get to that point? Because doing that, if you see what we've done over the past 10 years in terms of us just getting from a point of being able to have multiple bedroom studios where we can mix decently, how do we not take in that influence? And how do we remain stubborn? And how do we choose to mix for South Africa?
Our problem is the influx, bro. The problem, we're referencing too much that side, bro. We're referencing way too much of international stuff. Way, way, way too much. I feel like if we can capture and control the supply of content, especially on our side, like Chuck was saying, people are just going there to copy templates. Bro, if you're going to copy a template, at least copy a South African template. Come on. Don't go and copy a Mike Dean preset or whoever preset. At least copy a TP template or a
Do they exist?
template. You understand?
Do they exist though?
In the lab, Sound Sangoma, Silas Beats, you understand? So it's growing the existing platform, because I mean, just looking at all our individual platforms and the stuff that we do collectively, people really appreciate what we're doing. It's just that we're not hitting enough of them. Like people genuinely are like, yo man, I needed this, you know? Thank you for this. Like, I love the platform. I'm appreciating the platform. People want, the demand is there. It's just growing to a point where if we can minimize that other influence or push ourselves and be consistent enough with the kind of content that can encourage what we want to hear and what we want to see, we can go very far, dog. Because our individual templates are hitting every corner of the game. Every single corner of the game. Salah, there's no one who can tell you about contracts and information and all of that. There's no one who can tell you about mixes. Who's going to tell you about mixes, dog? You know what I mean? So if you're watching Silas for paperwork, you're learning from a South African guy who's run South African collecting societies, who's in the South African industry, you understand, who understands the context of what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Because you can't go and have SCAP and then come back and be like, yeah, I know the game. You don't know the right game, bro. You understand? You don't know the right game. You don't know the right game.
That's true.
So we need to push our own content and drive people towards our own content.
Okay, no, I completely agree with that. Yeah, TP, go for it.
Oh, so yeah. So like the same thing. I agree with you. And for me, it's like if we keep on doing it and actually making the artists that we have confident that we can actually do this, and them to translate their sound, to give them that unique sound. I mean, if you think about Mike Dean and Travis Scott, they made us used to listening to distortion and clips that are not faded, that has clicks. You check what I mean? And then you're going to go and reference that and do that, but you're not understanding why they're doing that.
Why they did that.
We can do all of those things as long as we know what we're doing, and we can be confident enough to explain it to anybody like, yes, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how the music. And if you don't believe me, let me take you where this music gets consumed and see people who consume it.
Yes.
Then you will start understanding. That's where we start seeing cultures where you can start saying, oh, people listen to listen to Amapiano. This is what they're actually getting to move. Because as engineers, sometimes most of us are introverts. It's our job to actually go out and actually see what is actually making people move.
Exactly.
So we understand when we're mixing music that it's not only about me sounding good in my monitors at home. I'm standing by myself. I have to understand that the person listening to it on the road, what's moving them? How they relating? A person coming from work, they just work, they want to do their heavy work on the headphones. When they hear that Amapiano, they know by Friday, I'm
going to be in a different
You have to understand that as engineer. I think if we really focus on doing that and understanding where we're from, it's easier for us to come up with a sound because it's a vibe, it's a feel. You understand how people are consuming the music.
I agree.
You know,
I agree. So, from my side, it sounds like what we're all saying is that there's a need for us to, one, create more content, and then two, be more stubborn about following our own things. And then having platforms like this, I don't know if you guys, maybe I'm sticking to myself a lot, but I don't see a lot of content. I don't see a lot of content where people come like this and we get very technical. We were speaking about it in one of our episodes, I think the very first episode, where we from time to time we get pockets. Like there was on my side with the whole like Samro and stuff, there were these two guys, very, very humble guys. They had a conversation, just sitting there. They put a camera there and they spoke for maybe 2 hours, and they chopped that into different episodes and they just uploaded them to YouTube very quietly. Yeah. I went through that and I was like, this is the whole essay game. Covered from beginning to end. What do you need to do with the song from the beginning all the way to the end process? But I don't know whether it's the algorithmic things on YouTube or whether it's got to do with the fact that it wasn't the podcast that mentioned it, or wasn't a big place that the information came from. Because we're very much like that as South Africa. We're a nation of people who, once we hear something, it must come from a specific source.
I was just about to say that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I eventually met up with him last year at the Beat Makers Market. I met up with one of the guys that did the video, and I was like, why didn't you make more? And then he was like, no, did you see the views? And I was like, yeah, sure, it was 100 and something. It was 100 and something views on your content.
That's nothing, bro.
You broke down everything. And if someone goes back and they watch that, they're covered. They don't need to be looking around for information. So maybe that's the case now. Maybe we need to then also start getting together more like this and having more platforms where we just, we're just putting stuff out. That way we can compete. And maybe in the search, it can not be so much how to register my music. It can be like how to register my music in SA. And we can just contextualize everything for us to be...
That's powerful.
On our stuff.
That's powerful. I think we need to understand, we need to take a sip of our own medicine, really, and understand how producers and engineers are consuming content. You see, once we understand how they are consuming it and where, we can give it to them on a silver platter like this. Because now it's a matter of... It's on the internet. If you look hard enough, you'll find in the lab. You'll find Sangoma. You'll find Silas. So we need to understand, where are they consuming it? If anything, build a specific place. You understand? Because I said in episode 2, remember when I said we need to consolidate production content. We all need to be under one thing. That's the only way we win, bro. That is the only way we win. Because now, if now I find Silas, I'm stuck on Silas, I do not know that there's a Sound Sangoma that exists on the other side of YouTube. You understand? Or there's an In the Lab on the other side of YouTube. If we could all sit down and consolidate everything into one platform, bro, we won't go wrong. We will not go wrong because people know where to find it. Whereas now, you bump into an In the Lab advert or you bump into a whatever advert. You don't know for sure that if I go here. Whereas for the artists and the people who are looking for music content and they're interested in hip-hop, they know Slicker has everything. Hip-hop artists, managers, no. Everything is at one place. You understand what I mean? So we need to find a way of consolidating that or having a hub where all the content will stream from, you know what I mean? Where people can be like, okay, there are a lot of different platforms given, but we will send you to all of them. You know what I mean? So we need to understand how people are really consuming our content.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you gave me an idea that, go for it.
Cool. And for me, it's just information, right information. We don't have a lot of people in South Africa who are talking about what's going on in South Africa. Well, we do, but like you're saying, it's difficult to find. I do sit on YouTube and be like, I've been trying to find, something simple, just something simple, even just shows behind the scenes of shows and seeing how people are reacting to shows. It's something that's difficult to find, and you find a lot of shows that you can find that for, it's cell phone, somebody's cell phone, not saying that's bad, but there is no breakdown. I don't understand how the booking agencies in South Africa's work. I don't know what they're looking for, how their process is. Why don't we have a touring culture in South Africa? Why are the same engineers getting the same jobs? Why are the engineers in South Africa not having identity? You just go to that engineer who will give you a bass mix. You're not going there for something special. You should know that when you go into Sound Sangoma, you're gonna get the quick effect. You should know if you go to Dinga, you're gonna get the smooth. If you go to silence, you're gonna get the bass that's gonna hang. You check what I mean? That's we ourselves start having an identity where a person makes a song, it's like, nah. That's what I want us to have. So everybody has an identity, because the problem is now all of us are looking at ourselves and being like, okay, cool, I need to be better than 63 Dinga. As soon as I feel like I'm better than that, I stop. That's the problem that we have. That's what I mean. As soon as I achieve that, I feel like, okay, I'm good. I'm about a guy that I feel like I'm competing with. You're not looking at, I need to develop myself so that people understand my sound. And it comes from us as engineers talking about to each other and finding out like, oh, okay, cool. That guy, when it comes to piano, there's just this thing about him which makes people feel a different way. That identity for me, because it comes with the artists too. The artists themselves started having an identity where you know, okay, cool. That guy music sounds like that. That guy music sounds like that. And it's engineers starting to have that drive where now we're no longer going to be, okay, cool, somebody has to listen to a song and go and listen to another song and be like, nah, but, you know what I mean? They're getting confused. That's why even hip-hop is... I'm one of the people in South Africa where I've been going and actually looking at hip-hop, and our hip-hop has a lot of potential, but I feel like one thing that's really missing is we don't have cultured engineer for SA hip-hop. We don't have engineers who are really like understanding how the sound is supposed to be. If we're still getting one of our top artists getting their mixes reviewed and their mixes being tweaked overseas because they can't find somebody to do it here, it's a problem for me. It's a problem for me. You check what I mean? Because now we have somebody, it's the same thing we're going to be saying about television, where most of the scripts are being written by people from the USA. And we're looking at the play and be like, yo,
what's going on?
How we live here. How we communicate here. You check what I mean? As engineers, we understand that for the music, for people to understand, you know an R&B song, even if the vocals are not coming in, because the frequencies are going to make you feel bad. You check what I mean? So we understand that if you want somebody to feel like, yo, this is the rough streets, or this is where I'm from, I don't leave bang bang outside. You know, I'm not hearing gunshots outside. You check what I mean? I can't be referencing Chicago bang bang music and feel like it's gonna sound the same here. People are differently. They go into Spar to buy bread. That's when they're playing music. You know, not standing outside on the window with headphones and singing, shooting each other. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. So that's where, for me, I feel like having platforms like this and having engineers being able to, for us to understand that all of us are still at a stage where we need to find our identity. We don't have that. And that is going to come from us communicating and understanding where other people are coming from and having all of these clashes. That's why I was very, very interested in the conversation, because for me, it was like, okay, cool. This can open up a conversation that we need to have. You know, it's not only just in the mixing side of things. There's a lot of things that we have to change, because there's a lot of people who don't understand our culture because we're not putting identity to our own culture. See what I mean?
We can't take all the blame.
That's what I'm saying.
Artists also need to pull through, because I mean, we can create all the cultures we want, bro. Have a happy engineers day. If the music itself is not sounding good, bro, you understand? If the music itself, bro. So I think also we need to refine our own A&R skills now and then. Get more hands-on, man. Because one thing some engineers and producers are doing is that it's a bag now, bro. It's not even about this guy's song succeeding. It's, yo, I need my song mixed. I mix your song. I give you your song back. What do you do with your song from there, bro, is none of my business. You know what I mean? So I think we need to A&R a bit more, man. Like, chip in where we can. I mean, I'm not saying jump into the whole song, but hey, man, your backing is off. You know, your lead is off, bro. Fix the timing here. You know, like, let's come in, make this verse shorter. Let's try this. Let's try that. Because that in turn now grows the whole game, you know? So I think we need to build like a synergy almost between us, because now it's like us versus them type of thing, you know? Engineers one side, artists one side, A&Rs one side, managers one side. If we could all sit down and be like, I would appreciate it when you record, you can leave me like 10 seconds so I can put a delay there. You know what I mean? you know. So now we're having conversations that are now going to enable the whole game to level up. You know what I mean? So that's also something like we need to see how we can first build us, because we're the priority. We're the superheroes of the game, and then grow towards helping other people as well.
Yeah. And for me, artists have to be part of the conversations too, you know what I mean? In terms of even producers, I mean, I watch in the lab and see you finding people who they doing all they can to create their own sound. The communication between the engineer, the producer, the artist, to understand what it is that we're trying to get out, because everybody there has their own creative way of approaching it. You know, understanding when the producer laid this down, what were they feeling? As an engineer, that's my job. You know what I mean? To make sure that I understand those two people, and then I can do what I can to make sure that can be presented to the people. You know, we need to have forums and things where we have the producer in this chat and the artist in this chat and the engineer, so we can find out in that triangle where the missing link is.
Where it's supposed to be.
So we need to understand each other and understand what we're trying to make. Yeah, and so that we can actually be telling the artist, yo, you can't be keeping on and telling me that I need to be referenced Lil Uzi Fat. You check what I mean? You know, let's be original right now. You know, let's be original. What would you like to sound like? You know, don't tell me I want to sound like somebody. Let's sit in the studio. I will build the tools. I'll give you all the tools to sound out what you want. You know, I'll give you whatever you want. I'm the engineer. I'm confident enough to say that if you communicate with me what you want, all of you, the producer and everybody, I can give you what you want, because I know these tools, and I want to give you something unique, not something I'm gonna be like you saying Lil Uzi Vert. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. That's that template I saw the other day that I used to. I want to say sometimes, you know what I mean? Give me that leeway for me to be like back and forth, so that we can come up with something that's exciting for the people. Check what I mean?
And that takes you knowing your craft. You can see, even by the way you're speaking now, I see the confidence. You see that if I was to say I'm an artist and I said to you, I want these things, you would be very hands-on in that way. It's no longer about the bag, right? You're trying to get the best possible track out of it. But I think also with some of the guys that I've seen out there, because a lot of the work that I get in terms of the mixing that I'm doing it's salvage jobs. Someone had a bad time down there. They paid however many rands they paid that side. They've come over this side, and I now need to use my skills to deconstruct. And hey, you know, the this wasn't done properly. The recording, everything is just all over the place, and you kind of have to bring it together. And that takes skill to be able to fix and do a situation like that. I think it takes a lot of even before we sit and have those conversations, I'm thinking maybe we do need to go back to the fundamentals and say, look, guys, skill sets, tools, what do you have? What don't you have? How can we improve it? We get our house in order in terms of the engineering side of things. The producers, let them get their house in order in terms of their sound. Then we start bringing people in. Then from there, it becomes very easy for us to say, because we're confident now. Now our engineers are a lot more confident than they were back then. People were saying all sorts to them. Now we can say to them and say, hey, this is how we need to do it. Otherwise, if we do it like that, this is why. It was, what's that guy's name? It was DJ Khaled, and he was sitting with someone. And he walked in, and he was very much like, they were banging to a track. He was like, yeah, you know, it's sounding good. But then after that, when he switched it off, there was a subsequent meeting that was had where he's like, you know what, man, I'm thinking about how it's going to sound in the club. I wanted to sound loud. I wanted it to be even louder than where you have it now. The engineer had to know his tools to say, hey, hold on. I understand you want it louder, but this is why it is at its limit. And if we make it louder, we can make it as loud as you want to, but then we start losing things.
But you know that
you see. And then when Khaled heard that, he was like, and this is Khaled, you know, you don't say no to Khaled. Khaled was like, okay. Then he understood. So we also need to come from a place where we can confidently say, look, I understand you want to do 17 of that take, but what are we achieving? What are we achieving by doing it that many times? So, you know, just being able to explain ourselves better.
We need to start charging people for these chats. Like straight up, this is free game, bro. This is genuinely free game.
Yeah,
It's such free game, man. Yo, I think we've chowed it, man. I don't know if you guys have any more. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Shout out TP for coming up with this idea. Shout out Silas. Thank you so much, man. This was dope. Gentlemen.
Away. Peace, my G.